Welcome back to the Unfortunate Diehards podcast. Hashtag number 83. Senators legends. Alish Hemsky and fastest senator at the skills comp, Christian Yaros.
I don't know why I heard it.
I'm an Ottawa Senators fan.
Was 83.
Evidently. Yeah, well, I have ball knowledge. My name's Evan. I'm an Ottawa Senators fan.
My name's Omar. I'm not your only Leafs fan today. Let's take this opportunity to introduce Nick.
I'm wearing blue today.
Nick, you should back the camera up.
and not move too much.
Sorry.
Nick, what team are you a fan of?
I am a diehard fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
There you go. And I'm a Caps fan.
That's nice, you.
Yeah.
All right, what do we have on for this episode?
Let's do our recap of the first round first. That's what we're going to do.
That's a fun recap.
All right, let's start with the Montreal Canadiens and the Washington Capitals. Go ahead.
Actually? Damn.
Sure.
I guess center stage. A lot happened in this 5-game series. There was a lot of fighting. People were fighting on the bench.
Can you talk like you did after they won on Instagram?
Yeah. You're a Habs guy, and you were literally such a dick.
It's because I did, bro.
You're Sufi, you're the best kind and the worst kind of person.
It's because I had.
I swear this guy said multiple times how Montreal is like his second favorite team or something. And
They're definitely up there. They're definitely up there.
then,
You see, the thing was,
and you're always like, "Oh, Suzuki's so sick and Caulfield's so sick."
he did. I tweeted how sick Suzuki was today. Actually,
I don't. You're like trash ass franchise.
Yeah.
so here, let me explain myself.
No cups. No
Let me explain myself. Let me explain myself here, okay? I was getting agitated because there's a lot of beef on Twitter between us fan groups, and then I was also getting DMs from Tony, and then like other people that don't even watch hockey. That I had Evan give his series prediction of the Habs winning in 7. So I was just very much agitated throughout the whole series, and it came out. And I saw my players fighting on the bench. You're gonna get riled up. It is what it is. This is basically how I play hockey, and I was seeing that come out in
Who's a fan of
full
how
force.
Sufi plays hockey when he's not scoring goals?
Everyone here except for you.
No one.
Whoever collects
John
the
H.
Parents?
You know who is a fan? You know who is a fan? John HBTHO, whatever the fuck his name is, because he made $20 off of me.
should have been more.
I think he would have rather have not made the $20.
No, he
His
wished me
refs
happy.
probably don't want to ref the games when they see you.
He wished me happy birthday on Instagram. He loves me on Instagram, on Facebook. But yeah, the guy loves me. It is what
When
it
the
is.
commissioner knows you personally, I don't know if that's a good thing.
He knows me because I registered the teams.
Yeah.
And you're
So-
a registered assaulter.
All right, man. All right. Let's get back on track here. Who do I assault? Have I assaulted anyone? Minus that one guy.
Oh,
Have you assaulted anyone? I'm surprised you asked.
There shouldn't be one.
No, I don't think I.
domestic violence charge, Sufi.
No, we can't be. I just wrote a criminal law exam today, bro. We can't be doing this right now. Anyways, yes, it was a very physical series. There's a lot of things that I saw that are going to bode well for us in the Carolina series, because Carolina and Montreal are not similar teams in terms of skill level. They're similar teams in terms of play style. They're small, fast teams, and the Caps effectively just ran over the Habs, and the Habs were very much saved by good goaltending in that series, and they still lost in 5 games. So it was a very encouraging sign. I'm happy to see Protas back in Game 5, and he's obviously a big part of our team. So there isn't that much to talk about the series because, again, did end in 5 games. There's a lot more contentious issues in pretty much every other series except for ours and Carolina's. So
I have a question.
sure.
If you were in a Game 7 with Carolina, if this were to be the outcome, it be best case scenario if Dmitry Orlov scored the Game 7 overtime winner?
No, because it would remind me of 2019 when Justin Williams scored against us in Game 7.
Did he?
So, yeah. And I was working a concert at CTC and I found that out. So it was a horrible time. So no, there's the only best case.
Fighting, like fans of whatever band.
Oh, bro, I was so pissed off. It was bad because it was double OT, right? So this was like while we were like doing the inventory stuff. So I was already pissed off that we're doing inventory stuff, and then I was finding out that happened. So no, the best case scenario is the Caps win. So yeah. Let's move on to let's just go into the series that has the most involved parties in this. Toronto, Ottawa. I did. You guys can each talk about the series. Oh wait, no, we got to give out our standout players for the Caps and Habs series. Standout player, one player total in the whole series. So for the Caps, it was the. They talked about it on Chicklets quite a bit. Tom Wilson in that hit in Game 4. Things started to sway towards Montreal's favor after they killed off a 5-on-3, and then Tom Wilson effectively sucked the life out of Bell Center, and things started going our way. So he is my standout.
I wish Tom Wilson would suck the life out of me.
All right.
The obvious ones are on Washington, which I'm sure others will say, but I'll give a little bit of a shout out to Montreal. I did really like Caulfield in the series. So I'm going to give a shout out. I thought he looked like he was engaged. I thought he had some big goals, especially in that Game 3 that they won. Yeah, he was one of the ones that looked dangerous out there when a lot of the time in those 5 games, Montreal didn't really look like they had much going on ever. But
their first line was definitely the ones that carried anything offensively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll say him.
Steady.
So I was only told to pick an X Factor for the second round, so I'm doing all these standouts off riff, but I will go with Chychrun for that series. But he had a couple big goals, and I was pretty impressed when you go with Chychrun.
Appreciate that. Raw Milkman appreciates you. All right, Evan.
I'm impressed with Logan Thompson, how he tore his ACL and then somehow fixed it and came back. Because when he got off the ice, I was like, this guy's dead. And then he showed up at practice the next day, and I was like, no, he's like definitely like on the gas. And then he played.
And he looked the same.
Body healing.
Yeah.
So apparently it was a head injury.
Like a soccer player head injury, like you grab your leg sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. No, because when he stumbled on the ice, it was because he was like kind of woozy. That's why everyone thought it was a leg injury. But he came back the next game wearing a throat protector, and he's never worn a throat protector in his entire life. So that was the conclusion of that. But I do agree. That was impressive.
Speaking of woozy goalies, we're going to bring that up later in the episode.
And
that was disgusting.
And just a quick shout out, obviously, to Ovechkin, who just sucks the light out of the Habs every now and again. Like, a lot of times it just seemed like he wasn't really, that noticeable. And then face-off shot goal,
Actually, that's it, bro. He led the series in hits with Josh Anderson. Him and he was running around out there, minus Game 3. But yeah. All right, let's go on to Sens Leaf. I want to hear what you guys are talking about, and then I'll ask some questions. Basically interviewing at this point.
Sens Leafs Game 6, I was actually not, where I wanted to be, which would have been in front of my team or at
oh, bro, I totally forgot about that.
Watching the game.
Where were you? Tell us.
So, about my wife's brother and his wife and my wife.
Okay.
Interesting.
They're into this. They're really into anime, and they love this show called Attack on Titan. So about 6 months ago or whatever, they saw that there's this orchestra soundtrack show, live showing of the show essentially. So they booked that in Toronto, actually, in downtown Toronto. So I got there at 7, and then the show started at 7:30. So I watched about 20 minutes of the game. or 20 minutes in real time of the game, whatever I could see of the first period, and then halfway through the show, there was an intermission of 20 minutes, so I caught the second half or the last 7-8 minutes of the second period. And then while the show was going on, when Leafs went up 3-2, when there were like 4 minutes left in the game, I came on during the show and like just kept watching it down. So I watched bits and pieces of it, but I was stressed. I was really stressed throughout the whole time.
Yeah, you couldn't enjoy your anime concert.
I can't believe you just didn't go, guys, I'm not a loser, I'm a jock. I have a hockey game to watch in 6 months because the Leafs obviously are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, the fact that the day coincided with a game 6 was funny. But anyway, it worked out. How did you feel about the game? I mean, I think you watched the whole thing live, right?
I did. Are we talking specifically about the game or the series?
No, both, I guess.
Game 6, I definitely thought the Leafs were the better team. Not by a ton, but like in the third period when Perron scored after Ottawa had such a bad power play, I was like, oh my gosh. It's like we're in overtime again and we have the momentum, all that. And then it was Max Pacioretty, of course, like some random ass Leaf scores a minute 40 seconds later, and just kind of put it to bed. It was like I going into the game, I was like I don't expect to win, because to win 3 straight after being down 0-3 would be like insane, especially for a team that has never made the playoffs with this core, or literally anyone on the current roster. So for me, the series overall, I thought was great. Like being down 3-0, I thought we might win 1, like, and then losing 5. But to win a couple and have other ones go to overtime or be close late in the game, and the entire core score their first playoff goals, feel the atmosphere, be able to be in winning games, I think was huge. So for everyone to kind of get that experience, whether people were healthy or not, like Tkachuk was so evidently injured, even though he had the most points for the Sens in the playoffs. It was just so evident that he was dealing with something. So sucks to lose, but I think, in my opinion, I said this the whole year, if we were to make the playoffs, that's a win. That's a step in the right direction. And to be playing the high-seeded team who has improved in the areas they needed to improve on over the offseason with goaltending and bigger defensemen and better defensemen, that's a tough ask. And even if the Leafs never make it out of the first round, they've still played like 20, 30, 40 games each of playoffs, because they've just been there every year for the past however many years. Where the Sens, none of those guys have made the playoffs for so long. So for me, it was a win as a team, and hoping to make it again next year. And because most of our core is still only getting better, and to be able to know what it takes to get there, and then what it takes to win games now. I think we could be in a divisional spot next year, hopefully. So.
Nick, how about you? As the other Leafs fan.
Yeah, total emotional roller coaster. Because games 1, 2, and 3, I fully bought into, oh my god, they're actually different, and like they're just gonna, this will be a 4 or 5-er. Not because Ottawa wasn't playing well. I mean, they took us overtime doing 3, but I thought, like, especially like defensively, this looked totally different. All the core forwards scoring, especially like game 1. Oh, here we go. Like, they're all going to come alive in the playoffs at once. And then game 4, 4-minute power play, don't score, they win. Game 5, we get shut out, and I'm like, oh, no. Because it's always the late series thing of the core 4 not scoring, the team not scoring at all. So the shutout in game 5 really worried me. But pulled it out. I mean, I thought Stolarz was pretty good. I thought most of the bets were really good, and a lot of respect to Ottawa, but huge, obviously, because that went to 7. I think we would have been on a pretty dark path a few days before that comes out. So overall, impressed with both sides, but I thought Toronto played pretty well overall, outside of some parts of like game 4. Well, no, pretty much just outside of some parts of game 5. Pretty good series.
Yeah, game 5 was a lot of the the typical core four, big game failure moments of this team in the past 7-8 years, and
Tons of shots, no goals.
the game for loss didn't concern me in the slightest. I saw
Yeah.
that game and I was like, we almost just swept them. We played a great game in Ottawa. Every time we lost the lead, we tied it. Like Sens didn't hold the lead for very long in that game the whole time, and then they get that shot in overtime. I was like, okay, it is what it is, and it's hard to sweep, so whatever. I brushed that one off without much. Like I had no concerns still. I was like, the team's still playing well. But game 5 is when I was like, okay, guys, like don't do this again now.
Yeah, no. That would have probably been the worst one. The worst series
Yeah.
loss would have been
And
going
because
to
it looked exactly like every single game 7 they've played in the last 7 years or whatever. Like especially the home ones, like that 2021 game 7 versus Montreal. Like that's like that game was the exact same game they played at those times. Like it was that frustrating to watch, doing nothing, scoring nothing. Like, so I was like, don't bring this team back, But then honestly, I was sitting in that show theater place, and before the show started, I watched the first, I would say, 7 minutes of Game 6, and the way Leafs came out like from that first shift, I was like, okay, like if this is how they're gonna play, then I think they're gonna win because they came out flying in the Game 6. I thought so. Yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, it looks like they've come to actually play and not do what they did in Game 5. So if they play like this, I don't think Sens are going to be able to beat them. And thank God it happened.
Magic back.
I think the series as a whole, honestly. So
I thought you would say thank Allah, not God, but whatever.
True.
Okay.
No, he's
so-
tight with him. He calls him God.
when I look at the series as a whole, like now that we're like almost a week out from the series ending, when I look at the series as a whole, I can give some credit to the Sens. During the series, when the Sens were like I gave no credit to the Sens for that game 2-0 comeback. I was really happy when Leafs won that in OT because I thought both Sens goals were complete BS and lucky. Like that third goal by whoever tipped it, was it Godet or Perron or whoever it was. I thought that and then that Kachuk second period goal on the power play, that was just Carlos scoring for him.
Oh yeah, because you guys didn't have any shitty
Yeah, but I
goals
was
like
like,
that.
okay, 2
You had
games in a
friggin' 3 or 4 of them.
2 games in a row, game 2 and 3, the Sens score on their first shot in the third period, which was after 15 minutes in the period, which was so annoying.
I hope you like
So
that.
Leafs played almost perfect periods to close out a game, and they got some lucky ass shot or something that went in, and that really pissed me off. So I was like, I'm not giving them credit for anything. And then game.
I like it.
Yeah, I was so pissed. I was like, "Come on, man! You're like this." And then the Sens fans are like, "Oh my God, look, we're so close. We're going to OT. We're in this. We're proper." It's like, yeah, you're in this because you're so freaking lucky. That's what I was thinking. It's not I didn't think that they were doing anything amazing to play, to be in the series. Game 4 was the first time that they came out and took a lead and stuff and and play. But then even that, the Leafs pretty much dominated the second half of that game. And then game 5, obviously, I have nothing to say because the Leafs just sucked in that one. So,
Oh no, the Leafs suck, not the Sens are good, huh?
I mean, no, yeah, I don't know. I can't give any credit to this game 5 if Leafs just laid an egg. But overall, good series by the Sens. Kachuk was good. Stützle, I thought, was the most noticeable Sens player on the ice all series. However, the guy had so many shots in the slot, so many chances to score, and he couldn't finish. So that's
Batherson had a few as well that he
yeah.
and that's the difference. Maybe it's been there before, or it's slightly higher end skill, but the Leafs were capitalizing on those chances, and the Sens didn't.
Yeah, which I think they'll come. Stützle will finish on those chances, and it will happen. Especially Game 6, the guy was a beast in Game 6. Stützle was. He could really.
So, who were our standout players for this series? Sufi?
Austin. Never mind. No,
Yes.
never.
Austin Watson.
I'm still yet to see a series takeover from alleged top 5 player in the world. I'll go Sanderson. Why not?
Respect.
He was good. He was honestly probably the best player on both teams for me. So, but yeah.
Ivan, how about you?
My phone just lagged. Who did you say, Sufi?
Sanderson, and I said he was the best player on either team.
I was gonna
Now,
say.
remember that. Remember that next time you say some bullshit about me, you whore.
Can I pick?
You can say Sanderson too. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I also was thinking Sanderson the whole time. I thought, even this year, he improved throughout the year. He was really, really strong to end the season, and then, yeah, in playoffs, it was, when he was out there, he's a. I don't know if you listened to Chicklets recently, but Chris Pronger talked about people who can play power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5. You want them in every situation to be a number one defenseman. He is shaping up really well to be a legit number one defenseman. He's on the first line power play, and he had lots of power play points. He was scoring goals near the end of the season as well, and point shots. It wasn't just he's on an odd man rush, he gets a lucky shot. It was he has a great shot, had the overtime winner, and has such dynamic speed as well to kind of separate himself. He almost has not exactly, but Erik Karlsson acceleration. When he was around the net and he just broke away from people, he has that sort of speed to be that sort of game changer in that area as well. So obviously there were giving them their flowers. Nylander had phenomenal games. Marner had phenomenal games. Same with Stolarz. But for me, Jake Sanderson I thought was super, super good. And I think he's well on his way to being a legit number one.
How about you, Nick?
I think early in the series, it looked like could have been maybe Tavares. And then I thought Marner had a couple of games too.
Huh.
But I think considering the discourse between game 5 and 6 about if this score blows this and how the world was falling down, Nylander at game 6, big goal, gets the empty netter as well. Obviously, don't really expect him on the ice, up a goal with 30 seconds left. So just putting in work, scoring a big goal for us, and I think he had 9 points in the series. I think I'll go with him. Because I think consistently, other years he's been kind of impressive when all the rest of the core hasn't. And I think, once again, this year, pretty solid first round. So yeah, go with Nylander.
Yeah, that empty netter was after he thought he got an empty netter too. That was a nerve-wracking moment.
I know.
Yeah, he sullied so early. I was
Yeah, that was crazy. I was watching that.
Even I thought of JT and whatnot, and I think the poor guys did well. I would say though, for me, I think I have to say Chris Tanev. I think he's such a standout player because he's you don't notice all the little things he does, which are amazing. The guy that never makes a mistake back there. I think he's the most solid defensive ad the Leafs have.
Can I throw out an honorable mention?
My lifetime.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I thought Oliver Ekman-Larsson was really fucking good.
Yeah, he was well.
He scored multiple goals and big goals, and there was multiple times where, specifically in one game I have in my head, Stützle and Cousins, there were people trying to take him on one-on-one, and every time he brought him to the corner, stick on puck, and just completely killed the momentum. And I was like, man, this guy was his career was trending downwards pretty quickly in Vancouver and stuff. And I think there is legit confidence when you've won a Stanley Cup and stuff. But I was man, this guy's such a gamer. I was he really impressed me.
In Game 3, I was at the game, and there was this one rush Stützle had where I was oh shit, he might get a semi breakaway here, and he was going around, and all OEL just literally stick out right on puck completely gone, and I was man, you're playing sick. I loved OEL in the series as well. Yeah.
It's all about roll. For the last two East series, let's just do standout players because we're gonna run very long on time otherwise. Yep. So let's go Florida, Tampa, and we'll start with Nick.
Can I go with Department of Player Safety?
I don't think so. I don't think they were a standout, if anything.
No, to sound even saltier, let's go with after a miraculous comeback from injury, from salary cap 80 injury, we'll go with Matthew Tkachuk. Does that work for you?
Fair enough.
That works.
Works for me. I would never pick him for anything, but sure. Homer.
I'm gonna pick a light day. Actually, I'm gonna go Jake Gensel. I thought he was really good. Kucherov was also. I mean, he didn't score, but he had some pretty nice assists. But yeah, I thought Gensel was quite good, and he was one of the more standout Tampa players, scoring and stuff. Yep.
Evan.
Okay, I'm going to pick the actual one that wowed us the most in the sense of why the fuck did Nate Schmidt have so many goals?
He was scoring like crazy in the first part.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to pick Nate Schmidt because as a sixth defenseman on that team or something, to score 3 goals in the first 2 games and pretty big goals too. It was 1-0 for a long time in the first game and stuff. So I'm going to stick with him because I was not expecting that from him, but hey, it's those depth guys that kind of step up, and Sufi, you know that. On the route to winning a cup, you had super random guys score big goals, and that's great for them.
Devontae Smith-Pelly is not random.
Lars Eller is.
Sure. Sucks ass.
Chason. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say Bob, because you never really know. Since he's been on Florida, playoff Bob has either been the best player in the series or the most questionable player in the series. And in this series, he was very much the former. So I'm gonna go with Bob because he didn't really give Tampa much chance, and he was the better of the 2 goalies. So, yep. And the next series, we'll go Carolina and Devils to wrap up the Eastern Conference. Probably the most unexciting series because the Devils pretty much had their whole team dying after game 1.
Yep.
They were already dying going into the series with no Jack Hughes, and then they lost a defenseman every single game, at minimum. And Jacob Markstrom also injured his own player. So that series was pretty much wrapped up in game 1. But in saying that, I'm going to pick a Devils player, and it's going to be Markstrom. Because he led the entire first round in goals saved above average, even though he played 5 games. But he was pretty much shelled every single game, and he played amazing. So, yeah. Evan?
I'll pick Logan Stankoven. Scored quite a few goals in the first series, and again, he's not a Nate Schmidt, but a guy that on a new team, or relatively new team for him, scoring a couple of big goals and being an undersized guy, just an absolute water bug, and pretty impressed by him.
Omar?
I'm actually going to go with a Devil too. I'm going to go with Jesper Bratt. I thought he was pretty good in the series. He at the times when the Devils were looking a bit, energetic, and they were looking like, they might take a game or something, or they had their moments of good play, I thought Bratt was the most noticeable. Yep.
Heck.
Funnily enough, I know Carolina won 4-1, but we're about to have a third Devil.
Okay, yeah, guys, what's that? I'm literally how are we saying so many freaking Devils in a series where they won 4-1?
Bro, their whole team was dead bad. It was a tough watch.
So pick me alive, people.
I can't,
So
because
obviously
a lot of the
kind of
cases, the Canes also got outscored at 5-on-5 in this series. So I'm just I just don't know what to decipher from that team.
I am going with Hughes, by the way.
Fair enough.
Because obviously that forward group without Hughes looks very different than start losing all the defensemen. But I thought, like Omar said, Heischer and Bratt basically being the only threats. They just on pretty dominant shifts. Heischer put up quite a lot of points for the team that lost 4-1. So
Okay, let's continue this for the Western Conference so we can get through it quickly. We'll start off with the most recent series. Then we'll start off Jets and Blues.
Before we go about this was I could almost argue this was my more fun series for me than it was Sens Leafs, just because it was they're so dramatic. It was like Bucks letting in goals. But they got the first few wins. And I was like, St. Louis is coming back. And then that game 7 was so fun. I didn't have to watch the regulation, but Nick texted me. He told me what happened. I rushed home and was watching overtime, and I was like, this building is going to literally blow up. It literally felt like it was like Prime Bell Center. People were so into it.
I was watching live. Who was the point? Who he went for a point shot and he fanned on it? Was it Connor?
Ehlers.
Sorry, Ehlers. Yeah, he fanned on it. I was like, I look at the clock. It was like 3 seconds or something, and I was like, okay, like this is done. Puck goes to Connor, who puts it on net, and it was like 1.6, and then I was like, holy shit, that series was insane. That game 7 was crazy. I thought Colorado Dallas game 7, I was like, oh, no one's gonna beat this game 7. That was sick. And then the next again, St. Louis do this. That was insane, man.
Yeah, honestly, both those series. Well, I mean, I'll wait. I'll talk about it. But
Yeah.
Evan, you want to go stand up first then?
Yeah, I'll go with. I'm purely for the game 7. I'm gonna say Neil Pionk, because in the first period they lost Josh Morrissey, their best defenseman, pretty much without a doubt. And he ended up playing like 50 minutes going into second overtime. Gets the game-winning assist. And I was super impressed. He even had some like really good defensive plays after playing 40+ minutes. And I was like, this guy, in overtime, I was like, the Jets are going to win. Like, it just feels like that right now. And, so to be a number 2 on that team, maybe not a number 2 overall, and just log so many minutes, I was really, really impressed.
Okay, Omer?
I'm going to go Perfetti, because that game 7 was insane, and he was a big part of why they came back. So, and I think generally he did have a good series. I'm not sure how many goals he actually ended up with, but I'm gonna go Perfetti.
Nick?
I'm gonna go Hellebuck, obviously. No.
Tough.
You know what? Good on him. Good on him for shutting the door after 3-1. Because he definitely
took his time.
We will go with Kyle Connor, and that's just because every time I watched this series, I thought Kyle Connor was absolutely flying. And I know how good he is, but it's just like I've never watched him maybe 4 or 5 days a week, whatever, and he was just all over it. Definitely the biggest threat for either team offensively, and especially game 7, he creates the first goal, he makes the play on the third goal. I played a really good series. So Kyle Connor.
I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I feel like Kyle Connor is hear me out. Look or plays like a slightly worse, slightly smaller Connor McDavid. How he moves is very similar. I find he's the head up and he's fast, quick turning, all that stuff. It reminds me a bit of McDavid. Other players are very dominant, but doesn't look the same. Where Kyle Connor, I'm how he's moving around guys, it looks similar-ish to what Connor McDavid does.
I mean, Connor wasn't playing the Four Nations final, so
Damn. He plays like forward Quinn Hughes for me, if anything.
Yeah, I can see
I
that.
don't mind that.
I'm going to pick a player on a losing team because Blues won 7 games and no one expected them to. I know Connor Hellebuck had a lot to do with that, but I'm going to pick a guy that I don't know how to pronounce his name. Jimmy Snuggerud. Snuggerud.
That was a slur.
That's why I was contemplating just picking a Jets player, but he was a high draft pick, and he got thrust into this role where he's playing in the top 6, and he was really good. He scored a very interesting goal on Hellebuck, but it still went in, so counts. We'll go to Stars Avs now. Probably the other best series, most competitive series. I'll say my standout for that one. It's so easy to go Rantanen, but it was just the way he played in the second half of that series. So I'll just say him. Rantanen was absolutely nails in the second half of that series, and with all the stuff that went on, from the trade deadline to how he played after the trade deadline and first half of the series, all the discourse about him. I think he showed that like life away from McKinnon wasn't easy for him and just away from the Avs system. So it took a lot of adjustment and he finally adjusted. So I kind of expect this version of Rantanen going forward in the playoffs. So it was pretty impressive to see what he did in Game 7 especially. And even Game 6, to be honest. I think he had like 11 points in the last 3 games. So I will go with Rantanen. Nick?
I think kind of similarly to the Pionk thing. I mean, it was the whole series for him, but I'm going to go with Harley because Harley was playing basically all Iceman role. And if you look at the D, they were standing out there. It was like CC, Labushkin, Lindell, like not a lot of offensive juice being provided outside of Harley. So I'll give it to him. I mean, he runs the power play pretty well. So I'll give it to him.
Omar?
I wanted to say Rantanen too, but I will veer to someone else. I'm gonna go ahead and say Johnston, because he has an impeccable Game 7 record at this point in his career.
Already.
Yeah, and he's comes up in these clutch moments that that 3-2 winning goal essentially. Yeah, Johnston for me.
Ivan?
Honorable mention, obviously, Mikko Rantanen. That's like a legacy game. That is a period of hockey that we will all remember for a very long time. That's a guy who played for this team for however many years and eliminates his old team, not only just with a goal. In the third period, he has a hat trick and an assist to eliminate the team that got rid of him. Like, that is insane. Like, that is, like, my soon-to-be brother-in-law was like, the NHL feels scripted. Like, with some of the stuff that happens, you can't come up with this stuff, but it just happens, and it's so exciting and so fun to watch, and it's cool to see him kind of fall in love with the game and see these crazy storylines that he's only just learning about. And anyways, I thought it was super great. I want to see Nathan McKinnon. I thought he was really good for the Avs. Obviously, he's pretty good always for them, but he was definitely, in my opinion, their best player. Some of their team maybe a little bit disappointing, and shout out to Gabriel Landeskog for coming back and scoring as well.
It sucks for Colorado because they traded Rantanen as far as possible away from them, and then a week later he's back in the same division on the best team.
Yep. No state tax.
No state tax. We'll go to Oilers and Kings now. The fourth time in 4 years Edmonton beats LA in the first round, even though LA took one of their most important players, Warren Fogle. Edmonton got it done effectively without any goaltending at all. So with that being said, my standout, I can't pick a goalie, even though I really want to pick Pickard, but he just wasn't good. He just got the wins, I guess. But I will go with Evander Kane because he's become slightly the LTIR king of the NHL because he just misses the entire season and plays playoffs. But that second line with him, Hopkins and Hyman really stepped up and played well in the second half of the series and was honestly probably their best line in the second half of that series. So I'll go with him. Evan?
I'm not going to say the line name, obviously, but I thought Kempe, Kuzmenko, and Kopitar were all very good, and I'm going to go with Kempe. They all had a bajillion points, and yeah, the first half of that series, it looked like LA was going to handily win, and that was their best line, and so I was super impressed. I mean, Kempe, I feel like for years we've talked about Barkov, Yossi, Heischer, whatever, being like super underrated players. I think Kempe might be the most underrated player in the NHL. Like, he scores 40 goals almost every year, it seems like. He has a decent amount of assists too. Like, he's a legit first liner. And I think he, plays somewhat of a Swedish style, so he's not bad defensively as well. And he, is also playing with Kopitar. He's not getting easy matchups. So super impressed by him, and I think he's a legit gamer.
I feel like LA generally tends to have very underrated players throughout the league. I don't know why they never have that like massive name, but they always have these guys that are really good.
It's because they're such a defensive team. They never really have crazy point totals. So,
Yeah.
in terms of hockey, LA is not the biggest market. They're probably like a more of a mid-tier market, right? So it's hard to get noticed.
I will say for my standout, I'll go Bouchard. It's easy to say McDavid.
Sick name.
Try not to say them. We all know they're the real standouts. So just to be a bit different, I'll go Bouchard because he scored some massive goals. I mean that game 4, they were almost down 3-1, and then he scores the 2 big goals. So yep.
Instead,
I was about to go with Bouchard because as much as he creates this crazy dialogue about you can't defend every playoff, he just piles in so
who
much.
cares?
It's fine. But I'll give it to someone else. I'll go kind of down the line Evan was going. I think that obviously that line was really good, but I also thought Byfield, especially obviously mostly game 1 and 2, definitely a standout. I think he's really turned the corner, especially this year, and I thought he had a really good series offensively at least. So we'll go with him. Don't know how LA managed to play that way in 2 games and then not play like that again pretty much all year. So,
Yeah. All right, let's get through this last one pretty quick so we can get on to the actual predictions. But Golden Knights and Wild ended up being Golden Knights in 6.
Yeah,
Pretty
go
much
ahead,
everyone had
Suki.
them in that.
What went wrong with Wild in 7?
I don't know. It was a pretty close series. I didn't really watch much of it because all the games were like 2 a.m. But it was it was definitely a bold pick by me, and I'm still happy I made it because the Wild played pretty well. So, and I'm gonna pick a Wild because why not? I can pick so many. They play great. I'll say Matt Boldy. He scored a lot of nice goals. Evan. Actually,
have you noticed that the Minnesota Wild are actually the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Toronto Maple Leafs are not the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Yep.
Yeah, we have that. What are they? How many seasons in a row they're out in the first round now?
Isn't it like
I think it was like 9.
they've
8
made
to
the
10,
playoffs
yeah.
8 of 10 years, and every
Yeah.
year they've been bounced the first round.
I mean, the Leafs are like 2 for 13 or something like that. Like, it's not that
I
much.
mean, they've at least made it a couple times.
We're not
On
2
pace
All
for
right.
3.
rounds. We're 2 for 13 in elimination games.
All right. Specifications. Nick, go.
I'll leave Kaprizov on the board for somebody, and I'll go with Gus. I think Gus is
Nice.
legit borderline elite at this point. So, also didn't watch as much because it was super late start. But yeah, we'll go Gus.
Elmer.
I'm torn between one Minnesota player and one Vegas player, but I'll go with the winning team player this time. I'll go Stone. Stone always comes up big, after he has his time off during the year on injured reserve. But nah, he was good. I think he scored a big goal in Game 6 as well, which was clincher. So yeah.
Evan.
I'll go with Kaprizov just because of that slap pass.
That was nasty.
That was insane.
Even that saucer pass to Boldy too was nasty too.
Yeah, so was Boldy that good?
Nah, he was just on the end of him. I was just trying to give some recognition to my albino king.
Yeah, it's like Omar assisting me in ball hockey, but I play defense, so even better.
All right, we'll go on to the 4 series that are left and try to keep it pretty tight here. But we'll give an X Factor player for each team.
The best first round I've seen in years. I love that first round this year.
Yeah, honestly,
Good.
I mean, maybe I watched a few more games, but I had a great time watching, even though my team lost. I was just happy for them to be there, but yeah, it was a great first round.
The only series with like no significant storylines other than injuries was Canes and Devils.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, we'll start in the West so we can get through those ones. We'll start with Dallas and Winnipeg. We'll give our series predictions first, and then X Factor players have a little discussion. Try to wrap it up pretty quick. We'll start with Nick. What's your series prediction for that one?
I would love Winnipeg to win. I would love. but I'm going Dallas in 5. I know it's a little short, and I know Winnipeg's sick home team, but I just think that's such a massive, like almost everywhere.
Fair.
And for X Factors, depends when they come back, but I'm going to go with Miro for Dallas. Kind of hard not to go with Winnipeg because, yeah, he's the best player, but in the playoffs, he's just not. So I have to get back to stealing games.
Omer?
I'm going Dallas in 6. I think Winnipeg might take a couple, but yeah, I think it's a bit lopsided. My X Factors, I'm gonna just it's ranted in right now for Dallas, and for Winnipeg, I'm gonna say Scheifele, because if Scheifele's not back, and if he does come back and he's not playing great, it's gonna be a big impact. So he needs to be good.
Evan?
I'm going to say Dallas in 6. I would love for the Jets to win. A lot of people are like, oh, Canadian teams. I don't give a shit about the Oilers or the Leafs. Fuck them.
All right.
Go Jets.
Okay.
But, yeah. I'm going to... So even though I'm saying Dallas to win, in my heart, this is what I want, so I'm going to say it. I hope that Hellebuck is now like, oh, okay, I don't have to be that good to win a series. My team was able to win a series for me, and he gets confidence from that. And then he, plays well, and those games that they do win are because of Hellebuck. That would be great to see for them. So I'm going to say Hellebuck, even though I picked the Dallas Stars to win.
Who's your X Factor on Dallas?
And on Dallas, I'm probably going to say, maybe Duchesne. I think even though Nemestikov and Lowry are so great, Dallas definitely has a stronger center core. And I think when healthy, Duchesne or Seguin or whoever's playing center down the lineup is going to potentially eat alive the lower guys on the Jets roster.
Fair enough. I will say Rope Hintz. I think with Scheifele out, he's the top center in the series, and he's really got to kind of assert his place in the series. So I'll go with him, and then Winnipeg, I'm saying Hellebuck, because I don't think that the Jets win unless he plays good. So because this isn't the St. Louis Blues anymore. So I do want to say. This discussion, I do want to start off by saying I think the problem with the Jets in this run of playoffs that they've had, when you look at the Jets, defensively, they're not crazy good at all, from personnel to actually just team defense. And in the regular season, Hellebuck makes up for a lot of that, and I think we see it. So when a team loses that aspect in the playoffs, and they're playing effectively the same way, that's what hurts them. We saw that kind of with Ottawa in the first half of the Leaf series, where Ullmark wasn't playing the way he was in the regular season, and Ottawa was kind of placing that expectation on him to do so, and it was hurting the team like crazy because they weren't getting the goaltending that they were in the regular season. Ullmark picks it up in the second half of in that series. Ottawa plays a lot better. They got the 2 wins, almost take it to Game 7. So I don't think that I think that even with Hellebuck playing at the highest level, Dallas still wins the series. But for Winnipeg to even have a chance for me, I think Hellebuck needs to be absolutely insane, especially with Scheifele being hurt.
All right. So Edmonton and Vegas.
I got Oilers in 6. They don't need goaltending; they'll win anyways. That's pretty much what they've proven in the past few years. So, and I'm not even going to pick a goalie as an X factor because I really don't think it matters. So I'll say Leon Draisaitl. Why not? We haven't talked about him today.
And for Vegas,
Nick. At Vegas, Jack Eichel. I honestly don't know if he did well in the first series, but
need more.
Yeah, so in the Edmonton series, there's going to be a lot of goals, and for Vegas, he's the main catalyst for goal scoring, so it's going to have to go through him. Because this series is going to be a track meet regardless, because Edmonton pretty much makes it into that because they know they have to make up for their bad goaltending. So, Nick,
I am going Oilers in 7, even though like my head's kind of telling me not to, because they're just
Same.
pulling like last. Like I thought the LA series was an upset. To be honest, I picked LA to win it, and Edmonton last year I would have picked them to lose to Dallas for sure. I would have picked Florida to become like 5. None of that happened. So clearly, they could just score their way out of trouble. I'll go X Factor. I'll go Hyman for Edmonton. Maybe you can get him a couple greasy ones. And last year in the playoffs, he was pretty good, so go with him. And then Vegas, I would have gone Eichel, because Eichel did not do enough in the first round, but we'll go with Aiden Hill, because that might be the one way Vegas wins. Just their goalie outplaying Edmonton's by like 0.5. So,
Homer.
I said Oilers in 7. And for me, the X factors are McDavid and Eichel, because I think Eichel is going to be matched up against McDavid the entire series. I think it's just going to be how effectively can he maintain McDavid, or how effectively can he not maintain McDavid. So it's going to be that matchup's going to be, I think, a huge factor in this series. So I'm going to pick those two.
Evan.
I'm going to say Vegas in 6, and I think that the X Factor players for each team are going to be Connor McDavid and Alex Pietrangelo. So I think if Vegas is going to be successful, I think it's going to be because they can play better as a team and defensively, and I think Alex Pietrangelo, maybe not right now at his peak of his career, but has been a legit number 1 and can play in any time of the game.
I've never seen a team just say screw defense like that and actually make multiple runs in the playoffs. But
I've never seen a team say screw defense and goaltending like that.
but that's what I'm saying, because their goaltending with that was so bad, they just said screw goaltending as well. Because now their depth scoring is also going up too, because everyone's just like, fuck it, we'll score goals and do absolutely nothing else. So we'll go to my series. Screw it. I got Caps in 6. Wilson is going to be my X factor, because I think that this series is essentially speed versus physicality, and Carolina in the last 4 years have pretty much lost to big teams when they have gotten kicked out of the playoffs. Every single time it's been pretty much the same thing, where they've gotten bullied out of the second or third round. So if the Caps can play like that and assert their physical dominance, I think it'll go pretty much the same way that it's gone for Carolina, because really their team hasn't really changed much aside from losing Natchez and adding Stankoven. So, and then for Carolina, Freddie Anderson, I think his status is kind of up in the air. I think he is playing today, but he's been on and off hurt throughout that first round, so he's definitely the most important player for Carolina, because they have sometimes struggle scoring in the playoffs. So I'll go with him. Nick?
I'm going Carolina in 6. Sorry.
I have faith in you, bro.
There's been a lot of Carolina runs where they deal with the Metro teams and then they get spanked around. I know Washington's a big team. I know Washington good in the first round, but I feel pretty good about Carolina's depth. Obviously, like you said, Freddie, massive question mark. Thompson versus Freddie. Relatively even, but if Freddie's hurt or playing bad, then that's for them. X Factors, I will go with Stankoven for Carolina, because they're going to need depth scoring. And Washington, let's go with Ovi. If Ovi's just on a heater, he could just take over the series because he is bigger than every Hurricane combined. So, go with Ovi.
For me, I've said Carolina in 6 as well. Sorry, Sufi.
Oh,
I said, I'm just kind of thinking, oh, it's going to be Carolina's annual trip to the conference final. My X factors for Carolina, it is easy to say Freddie. I think he probably is the biggest X factor. And for Washington, I'm going to say Thompson. So I'm going to say both the goalies because I want to see how they factor in.
Evan?
I forgot what I said for this series. So I said Carolina in 7. I feel like Carolina in 6, but I'll stick with the 7. I feel like Sufi is like the Michael Jordan meme, and he's like, and I took it personally. But
Round 1.
yeah, no. Welcome to round 2. Sufi is not going to change his perspective on that. If the Caps win, Sufi will be like, "You're all haters and doubters. I knew it."
I will, 100%.
I know. Yeah, I think that Carolina just has slightly better depth, and I think Washington's a little bit older. But yeah, really could go either way. If Washington were to win, I would not be shocked whatsoever. But yeah, I'm going to pick Sebastian Aho, even if you don't like hearing this movie. I think he's the best center, maybe best forward in the series. And then for Washington, I'm going to pick Connor McMichael. Sufi has talked about him for so long, and he had a really good year. And I think, with
Great first round.
Yeah, with Washington's depth, I think he could be a big player, and if he can keep scoring, then bodes well for them.
We'll talk more about the series, bro. The reason to believe for us, Sebastian Aho did not have a great first round, so maybe he has got more fire in the second round. I don't know, but he wasn't good in the first round. Carolina also got outscored at 5-on-5 in the first round. So I don't know. For me, it's like the speed versus physicality thing. Like we've seen it in the years past with Carolina, like I said, and especially with they lost to the Rangers multiple times. They lost to the Bruins, and our team does compare pretty well. We have gotten younger, and we are on average younger than the Canes somehow. But yeah, I think while Carolina does have some more name value depth-wise, I think that if we can impose our physical game, especially in game 1, considering we do have the home ice advantage, I do think that Thompson can steal a couple games for us as well, because I have a lot more confidence in him than I do in Frederick Anderson. So, anyways, we'll move on.
Don't tell 2017 Omar about that take.
I mean, bro, the thing is, like, saying Montreal beating us was one thing. Saying Carolina is just a whole different thing. They're actually a good team. So I'm like, most people online, aside from Spit and Chicklets, are saying Carolina's going to win. So it's not that big of a deal to me. I think Carolina also has a reputation thing going for them right now, which is why a lot of people are picking them. So it is what it is.
No, what you'll be pleased to know, Sufi, not only Spit and Chicklets, but the Steve Dangle podcast. They're all picking Washington.
Now you're going to lose.
I'm telling
Why'd you have to tell me that, bro?
I saw their round 2 predictions. They're picking Washington. Steve Dangle.
Watch Drake's post that he bet on the Capitals.
I'll shoot myself. Well, it's a thing, right? Like it did look good for us in the Montreal series because we were so physical against a smaller, fast team, which is effectively what Carolina is, right? Like Carolina is not gonna receive the physical game well, and if we can play that game, I have no doubts in us winning this in 6. I think that a team like Florida would give us a lot more trouble than a team like Carolina. So, because they do play like a very similar style of hockey, and they have a lot more superstar name value to go with that compared to us. So, we'll go past that now. We'll go to Leafs and Panthers. They've already played a game, so we'll try to ignore that as best as we can. But for that one, I do have the Panthers in 6. I did predict the Leafs to win game 1, so there's that. X factor for the Leafs. He didn't do it in game 1 already, so this is kind of tough. But I need to see a full good series from Austin Matthews. I don't want to see a couple games. I don't want to see a floater along the ice go in and see everyone going absolutely nuts for it.
He missed an empty netter yesterday.
He did.
And you know what? Not even surprising whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, when people have all these top 5 player discussions, I'm just like, there's no way that Austin Matthews can be included in that, because he's had up and down seasons in regular seasons where he has 70 goals and then he has 40 goals.
Yeah.
And then the playoffs, in just the playoffs, he's never a game-breaking player in the playoffs from start to end of series. That's why he's my X factor, because we need to see that, bro. Because otherwise, there's more centers that I would have. Otherwise, I have more centers ranked ahead of him. Like, there's no way for me to consider him a top 5 player if he doesn't have at least one good playoff series. We've seen other guys. We've seen Crosby, Ovechkin younger in their careers. We've seen McDavid multiple series. We've seen Draisaitl multiple series. We've seen even Jack Eichel multiple series absolutely take over a playoff series. We have not seen Austin Matthews even take over 2 to 3 games consistently. One game here and there, sure. Full series. We'll ignore game 1 and maybe you can do it for the next 5. And then for Florida, I'll say Barkov, because, like, again, he's another one of those guys that got knocked around in the first series. So it'll be interesting to see how he kind of rebounds in the second in this next series. So, yeah. Evan?
I'm going to pretend that I did watch the first game, and I'm going to say William Nylander. And I'm also going to say Sam Bennett. Because if Sam Bennett can hurt enough Toronto Maple Leafs, then they'll definitely
hurt enough Toronto Maple Leafs without getting suspended.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, William Nylander, I thought, I think it was game 5, like when he scored and assisted OEL.
Game 4.
Maybe I'm not right there. But he's really good. And he's fun to watch. And I think he's
good in the playoffs.
The best forward on the Leafs. So
he's better than Matthews. There's no doubt in my mind now. Evan, what's your series prediction, by the way? You didn't give it.
Panthers in 7.
Cool. Homer?
Mine is Leafs in 6. My X factor for the Leafs is, yes, Austin Matthews, because he needs to take over. I mean, if they're going to make if a run is there, then, you know, the little guys scoring here and there, even Willie doing his thing. Like, Willie's obviously really important to do his thing as well, but I think Matthews needs to reach this gear that that propels the Leafs to make a run if they're going to do that. So, need to see that from.
Am I wrong? Have we seen a full takeover?
You're not wrong in your assessment that we need to see more. You are wrong that he's never performed in the playoffs.
I'm saying full series. Did I not specify? Did I not specify? And did I say no? The whole series. And I'm talking goal scoring, Matthews. I'm not talking an assist here and there.
5 goals, 6 assists in round 1 in 2023 versus Tampa.
Did they win that series?
Huh?
Did they win that series?
In 6 games, he scored 5 goals and he had 10 or 11 points in round 1.
I gotta verify
Wow,
this.
Sufi, get dunked on.
I
I don't know if
that
that's correct.
I know that because in round 2 they played Florida and he didn't score a single goal. I don't even think he had a single assist versus Florida. So all his points of that year are round 1.
I believe Omar.
Like, unless
He had oh my god, that's what screwed me. You see, I saw 11 points in 11 games, and I thought it was like dispersed within the series.
no.
But he straight up just had 11 points in the one series.
Yeah, unless there was like 1 point in round 2, then 10 points in 6, but it's 10, 11 points.
You know what? That still adds to my discourse.
So anyway, I agree with your general discourse that yes, Matthews, we need to see more consistently in the playoffs from Matthews, absolutely. And we need like a gear from him that like he's on the ice and he's dominant, taking over, that kind of thing for long stretches of games and for multiple games in a row. I agree 100%. I do not agree that he's never been a factor in the playoffs. So that's.
I'm sorry, bro. He had one series in 8 years. Like, give me a break. All right.
So Matthews.
He did prove you wrong, though.
Matthews
Second.
for
He's 27 years old. He's had one good series. I'm not taking this. Go.
Matthews for Toronto, and for the Panthers, probably Brad Marchand, only because he's playing Toronto.
Yeah, I was like, imagine he scores like the Game 7 winner.
Going to me?
Nick.
Okay, so X Factors first. I'm going to go with Knies and
Kellyanne
Kachuk,
Croak.
with Knies and Kachuk for the simple fact of this is going to be a series where you have to toe the line if you're a physical player, because with the amount of stuff that's going to happen, like after the whistle, debatably dirty hit, response hit, whatever, you got to make sure that like you're not costing your team penalty wise. You could probably throw in like Domi and Bennett as like X Factor point two for both teams, and then Knies and Kachuk are obviously both like offensive contributors that are important. So yes, like hit, like finish your checks, whatever, but those two guys put up points too. And for the series prediction, for the first time for this core, I am predicting a Game 7 victory. I'm predicting Leafs in 7.
You know, I've noticed that whenever Omer,
Toronto in 6 because this goes 7. There's no way Leafs are winning 7 games.
whenever Omer predicts a series, is always in 6. It's never in 7.
We're going 7.
Well, thank you everybody for listening to our playoff episode on to round 2. We appreciate you tuning in, and feel free to check us out and share our podcast, and you can listen to us on the following platforms.
Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music,
Stitcher.
Radio, Stitcher, SiriusXM. Watch us on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram and on Twitter at The Unfortunate Diehards. And we'll see you next time.